Hi, everybody. So, today here with me is Hanna, and she's one of the creators behind the newly launched Eating Disorder Recovery website and community, Eating Disorder Recovery Hub. So, Hanna, thank you so much for joining me here.
You're welcome. Good morning.
So, maybe you can start by sharing your story and what is your experience with the eating disorders and how did you recover and
Yeah, so I began my eating disorder at about the age of 19 when I sort of started the diet, and it gradually got worse and worse. And over time, I cut out more food groups, and before I knew it, I just developed an absolute obsession with food and diet and restriction, and I fell into a really negative culture. Somehow, I managed to complete my studies throughout this period. So I did my degree at this time. Um, and I just led a very restricted existence. There was no life anymore. It wasn't until I reached the age of 23 when I tried to live on my own that things completely spiraled out of control. And I woke up one morning just battling so many demons and feeling so incredibly weak and desperately unwell. And I picked up the phone to, at the time, the Maudsley in London, which is where I was living. And I said to them, "You need to see me now. I've made this decision. I need help." And I'm very blessed that the lead consultant saw me 2 days afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it all started. So I had a number of inpatient admissions, or I had two in the space of a year, which didn't really work for me. I hated the lack of responsibility. I hated the fact that I was identified by my weight, not by my mental health. I hated the fact that everything was so prescribed and there was no responsibility. There was no developing your understanding of food and good nutrition and then life after recovery. There was none of that. It's very important for inpatient to save the person physically. They're in a very desperate state when it gets to that place. But for me, I needed to work on restoring my life, restoring my identity without the illness, and finding my own feet. So that's why I kind of came away from the NHS and forged my own way. And everybody has their little wobbles, everybody has their little relapses, but I'm really proud now that through various methods, and one of the biggest ones is the ISR technique, and that's why me and Emily have joined together, because I found her therapeutic technique just so incredible in managing to find my identity, my own inner voice, to say to the anorexic voice, "No, I'm not going to listen to you this morning. I'm not going to go for the run. I'm not going to go for that food choice. I'm going to go for that." And finding my inner strength. But that's really where this whole thing has come from. As part of it, I recognised how much I relied on peers and how much I needed to see other people's experience and believe in them. Mm-hmm. And that's why I set up my own site, An Ear to Hear, which is that early intervention peer support. So people can get in touch via email and just say, I don't know what to do. I'm struggling. I'm sitting on a waiting list like I was for so long with the NHS, and I need somebody to talk to. And that's the website that I set up, and it's going really, really well. And there's obviously a real demand for it. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, I think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if somebody's struggling with the eating disorder and they come to you, so where do you start with them, or what do you recommend for them?
So when somebody comes to me, first and foremost, what's most important is they understand that I'm, as somebody really beautifully put it, a big sister in recovery. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a counsellor, not a dietitian, I'm not those things, but what I do have is that really raw and very honest and truthful personal experience. So nothing that anybody says to me will scare me. Mm-hmm. And that's the important thing, is being able to have that openness with somebody. They feel comfortable enough to say, "I'm scared of marmalade." Mm-hmm. And that won't scare me. I'm totally okay with that. But with a counsellor who hasn't had that experience, saying something like that can be almost a bit awkward. Will they understand what I mean? Will they think I'm stupid? So that's where this came in. But it also, I can work really closely with other professional bodies that I engage with to make sure that the person is accessing the right treatment for them. So I can put them in touch with counsellors or therapists or dietitians, or encourage them to go to their GPs or speak to their parents, whatever it is they need. That's how I can help. It really is a big sister in recovery, really holding their hand and telling them, it's okay, I've done it, I've been there, and I'm here, and I've come through that existence, and now I'm living, now I'm thriving. Mm-hmm. you know, so it's supposed to be really positive.
Yeah, and you before briefly touched about the different treatments, and can you just share, like, what is, in your opinion, what is working or not working? And
it's really difficult because CBT is such a massive part of recovery, but it doesn't work for everybody.
What is the CBT? Maybe I'm not familiar with the terms.
CBT is cognitive behavioural therapy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so it works on changing the thinking to changing the behaviours. But the problem is that the brain is in such a malnourished state that it can't think about all those cognitive processes without getting that nutrition and basically getting those calories in to give you that energy and to give you that power to do the fight. So it's a really fine balance that you have to find. For me, CBT didn't work. I needed to really bite the bullet and do some of the behaviours first in order to nourish my body and give myself the strength to do that kind of work. From there, I found that I knew that I had cognitive deficiencies, if you like. I knew that's what I did, but I was really intent on finding myself, and that's what CBT didn't give me the opportunity to do. So I went to ISR, as I said. That's 3-stage processes: identify, separate, and release. And I found through those 3 things, I really could find the strength to grow as myself, because I identified my own personality again, and that's really exciting. The recovery, there's so many different techniques that people try. The thing is that there's not one size fits all. And that's so important for people to remember, is that if one treatment fails or doesn't work or doesn't have that success, it's not to give up, not to think you're a hopeless cause. There is so many options out there for you. And actually, that's where an ear to hear comes in, because I can go through some of those options and chat through some of those things that might work. But the problem is that often we go to a doctor or a GP and they wait until our weight gets so low, or the heart rate gets so low, or blood pressure, or whatever it is, or the bloods flare up. And then they refer us to treatment. It's too late by then. It's too late. Anorexia, bulimia, or any other kind of restrictive eating disorder, it's first and foremost a mental illness. It's a mental illness. You have to treat the symptoms without a doubt. Just as an alcoholic needs to give up alcohol, gambler needs to give up gambling, we need to give up this horrendous cycle of restrictive eating. But at the same time, it's a mental illness. And that's what you have to treat first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also, because I didn't went through any kind of traditional treatments or anything. I have only learned by them by talking with my clients who have been through different treatments for years, and most often they didn't work because they were so focused on the weight and getting to a specific number. And they were left to by themselves then. And for them, it's just kind of like, I don't feel I'm recovered, because it's so focused on like maintaining your weight, but not exactly. Like how to continue recovery on your own without being dependent on anybody, like having this full freedom.
And how to live your life.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many topics in recovery that we almost don't touch upon. And I think that a 3-stage process, you've got this first bit where you're really in the illness, really in the grips of your mental illness. The second stage is that very critical stage. So, for example, where you need to restore the weight, you need to stabilise your bloods, you need your heart, things like that. But there's this third stage that comes after the weight restoration and all of that. That's life. And what about, having sex again? What about love, getting back to work, going back to school, getting back with your friends? What about all of those things? How do you deal with those in the real life? How do you go back out for dinner? And yes, there are occupational health therapists, which are great, but we're talking about the real world. We're talking about doing it with friends. We're talking about, falling in love again and having a massage, or, having your hair cut and being able to look at yourself for that long in the mirror. It's those things that are not addressed, and that's about life. Mm-hmm. That's about getting your identity back. And that's what I'm so, so passionate about, is that the illness takes so much, but in recovery, it gives so much as well. It gives you so much opportunity to flourish and to blossom, and that shit is just nothing but exciting.
Yeah, and for me, what I found the most kind of sad is that oftentimes the people are told that like there is like you will forever kind of live with this for the rest of your life in some form or another. So I want people to believe that the full recovery is possible.
It's so frustrating. So frustrating. I went into hospital, and one of the first things I was told was, "Oh, is this your first time? I've been here 7 times." And I was just like, "What?
Yes.
This is madness. I've come in here, and I am never hoping to get to this level again. You know, I didn't make a recovery, so I had to go back in very quickly. But now there's no way, because I think I've been A, traumatised by my experience, B, I know that full recovery is possible. I don't want, they called it revolving door syndrome, where people just go round and round and round and come back for more, come for a top up almost, is the way they put it. That's so sad. That's not a life, it's not existence. You know, how can you go on to fall in love and get back into work and all those things when you're never giving yourself the opportunity to get that? We should never be told that recovery might not be possible. That's awful. Recovery is absolutely possible, but recovery is the way that you choose to do it. And the way that works for you, and that's the most important thing.
Yes, I also think that when you already have the mindset of like, oh, like nobody fully recovers or nobody believes that, even the professionals tell me that it's very rare or it's not gonna happen, even then you already kind of set yourself up for a failure of recovery, because you have to have first the belief that like somebody has recovered, or like some other stories prove that recovery is possible. So maybe for me it's also possible, like somebody who I trust believes in me and believes in my full recovery. So if I have eating disorder, I already have so much negativity in me and all the doubt, and the eating disorder will tell me that no, you can't do it, like you are a failure. So the health professional, they should be the positive support for you, that will root for you, like be your biggest cheerleader of all.
Exactly, they should fight for us. But that's why eating disorder units are so negative, because the most important thing is that, as I said, anorexia, bulimia, or whatever it is a mental illness. We've already got, you know, probably elements of depression, of anxiety, or you know, whatever it might be. So actually, to then put more negativity on us by saying we might not ever recover, you're just adding fuel to a really raging fire, and that's really dangerous.
Yes.
Really dangerous.
Like this is what the eating disorder wants to hear, not what the recovery, like the true you wants to hear. The true you wants to have the inspiration and support and the belief. But the eating disorder wants to know, like, yes, I knew it. You can't do it.
Yeah. What's the point? What's the point in all
What's
this
the
heartache?
point? Exactly.
What's the point? Because you're never going to recover,
Yes.
so just go back to your ways.
Yes.
And that's why we have created the Recovery Hub. And that's why we've got people like yourself and some amazing contributors in place, really, really, from like around the globe, that show recovery is possible. We're not going to say it's going to be easy. We're not going to say it's, you know, I say it's exciting. It's not exciting at first. It's horrible. But it's so worth it. And the opportunity that you're going to get to restore your body and then your whole life is priceless, so valuable. I think of it of like looking over a diving board. And when you're in eating disorder recovery, you've got your toes over the edge of the diving board, but below you in this swimming pool, you can see everybody around you having this whale of a time, and you want to jump in. With very routine treatment centres, often they'll almost have you just looking over the edge, you know, and to dive in means that you just basically eat more. But it doesn't. To dive in means you get your whole life back, you get your social life, your family, go back to work, falling in love, all of that comes back. That's what should entice us back into recovery, not X meal plan. Not, oh, you know, maybe you could dip a toe in and see if it works for you. No. Jump in and get your life back. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to tread water for a little while. But in the end, you know, it is possible. And that's why what the hub, the whole ethos of the hub is is that recovery is possible. So live it and breathe it. So the Recovery Hub was really born out of myself and Emily coming together with just so many frustrations at the things that professionals would tell us that would help us with our recovery. You know, Emily was told, I think, try having a bigger ice cream. And I was told to try putting a bit of butter on my toast. And not once did they try to address the mental symptoms. So, you know, I reached out to Emily through Instagram when I was suffering what I thought was a bit of a relapse. And Emily really did help me. She really taught me a lot about the process and really gave me that encouragement that I really, really needed at that stage. And she's fabulous. And once I felt strong enough, I got back in contact with her and I said, look, I feel that we need to make a stand against this. I feel that the social media industry is so saturated, heavily saturated with recovery sites, but not all of them are totally safe and totally, you know, on showing that recovery is possible. And I want us to bring together the ones that are really celebrating life after anorexia. And she totally felt the same way, and that's why we came together to create the hub. And so far, it's going really well. You know, we've got followers on Instagram and on Twitter, and we're hoping to set up our YouTube channel, which should be great. But also in the future, extend it to be able to do workshops and things like that, but all with that personal experience right at the centre of our ethos, and together with the passion that recovery is possible. Don't give up. So that's kind of where the hub came from.
Thank you. And maybe for to finish it, maybe you can just maybe share some of your best tips or what helped you to recover, or do you have some maybe concrete steps to give the viewers, or like where to start or what to focus on? Or
without doubt, accept it first. That's the biggest thing that you need to do, you need to accept your illness. Don't give it a tag. Don't say you are Hanna the anorexic. Don't say you've got XYZ. Know that you're unwell, you have a mental illness, and that regardless of how your mental illness is how the symptoms are displaying themselves, get the help that you need and you deserve. Once you've found the help and need that you deserve, whatever that might be, through your GP, through your counsellor, or whatever you're referred to, cling on to it with everything that you've got and get everybody on board with it. Your parents on board, your peers on board, family, friends, everybody holding on to this support for dear life. And then just keep going. Keep going. Follow the meal plan to begin with. That's absolutely critical, that you do need to follow that meal plan. I used your book quite a lot, Brainwash ED. I loved it. And I knew that I had to follow the mini ward guidelines, and I did make sure that I followed them. Keep following, and then in time, learn to start identifying the behaviours, start to learn the techniques to separate yourself from them, and over time, just discover your body. But whatever you do not let anybody let go. Just keep that tight grip on whatever resource you're using for recovery. And if it helps, get in touch through the hub to one of our amazing contributors, or to myself or Elliot to hear, or Emily if you can relate to the ISR method, and let us help you and get excited about recovery again.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we will leave all of your links down below in the video description so people can find out more about you. So thank you so much for this interview, and I hope it helped the viewers, and especially the discuss we had about the treatment options, like your experience, the truth of it, like how to see it, like what helps, what doesn't help. I think it was very interesting. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's catch up soon.
Yes, bye.
Bye.